This week, we have again compiled lots of exciting news for you. Among other topics, we talk about Henry Cavill's official statement on his role as Superman, a first image from the Joker sequel, the late continuation of a film series with Jackie Chan, and exciting news from Christopher Nolan's latest film, Oppenheimer. Furthermore, Timothée Chalamet recently announced important progress on the production of Dune Part 2, and Amazon revealed how the planned God of War series will proceed. If that has caught your attention, then keep on watching. Amazon managed to acquire a number of video game adaptations lately. In addition to Life is Strange, Fallout, Mass Effect, Gears of War, and Disco Elysium, the popular God of War franchise will also get a series. Production on the series has been underway since March and has now been given the go-ahead by the responsible parties. The series will not be based on the old games, but on the two latest PlayStation hits. The plot of the new games from developer Santa Monica Studios is set in the Norse mythological world. The story is about the god of war Kratos, who, after the death of his wife, sets out with the son Atreus to cope with the loss and spread her ashes as requested. On their adventure, the two first emotionally distinct characters have to face many friends and enemies which they meet on their long way through several Nordic worlds. Showrunner of the God of War series will be Rafe Judkins, who was already responsible for The Wheel of Time in the same position. There is still no reliable information about the cast, but many would like to see Christopher Judge in the role since he already dubbed the character in the last two parts. In theory, however, there is a whole range of candidates for the heavily muscled character, with Dave Bautista, for example, frequently being mentioned as a fan favorite. Sadly, there is also no information on a detailed plot or release date yet, but now that the series has officially been given the green light, there ought to be new details soon. It's not getting any quieter at DC these days. Only last week, reports about the planned restructuring of the DCEU caused quite a stir in Hollywood. The list of affected projects is long. For instance, Wonder Woman 3, Black Adam 2, and Aquaman 3 will be canceled. The idea is to create a completely new universe that is no longer connected to the so-called Snyderverse. Equally affected was Man of Steel 2, which ironically was even teased at the end of Black Adam. This will have been the last appearance of Henry Cavill in his popular role, as he now confirmed in an official statement. Thus, Peter Safran and James Gunn, the two heads of DC Studios, have met him and presented him their plans. He himself respects the decision of the two. After all, they must also create a completely new universe, but still, it is not easy for him. On the other hand, it has to be pointed out that Gunn and Safran only recently took over their positions as creative directors of DC, which is why they are only partly to blame for the chaotic back and forth. Nevertheless, one thing is certain, there are plans for Superman in the upcoming DCEU, as Gunn announced almost simultaneously with Cavill's statement. In contrast to a Man of Steel 2, there will be a kind of prequel that shows the superhero in his younger years. Gunn himself will write the corresponding script and possibly also take over the directing. Despite the disappointment that many fans of Henry Cavill surely feel, the new project does at least raise some curiosity. Whatever the outcome, we will keep you up to date on further news. Last year, Denis Villeneuve's Dune won 6 Academy Awards out of 10 nominations, outshining all of its competitors. The epic film is based on the 1965 book by Frank Herbert and revolves around young Paul Atreides, who finds himself in a confusing situation that not only takes his father's life, but also forces the ruling Atreides family underground. A second part was announced promptly after the success of the first part and will most likely be a bit more extensive. On Instagram, Timothée Chalamet personally confirmed that filming, which began this summer, is now completed. Hungary, Italy, and Abu Dhabi, among others, were used as filming locations. Especially the latter seems to be the ideal place for the desert scenery, where Part 1 was also shot for the most part. In addition to the familiar stars around Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Stellan Skarsgård, and Josh Brolin, some new faces also joined the cast. These are not strangers to Hollywood either, with the likes of Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan and Christopher Walken as her father, Emperor Shaddam IV. Denis Villeneuve is once again the director. In addition to him, John Spates and Eric Roth have also contributed to the script, which is exactly the same constellation as in the predecessor. We are looking forward to further news and, of course, to a first trailer with which those responsible will probably take some more time. The theatrical release is not until November 3rd, 2023, in a little less than a year. With Joker from 2019, director Todd Phillips succeeded in making the most successful R-rated film of all time up to now. In total, the completely standalone film, which has no connection to the DCEU or the Batman, grossed over $1 billion at the box office, almost $250 million more than the second-placed film, Deadpool 2. So it's not surprising that all eyes are on the long-confirmed sequel titled Joker: Folie à Deux, with expectations being correspondingly high. A few days ago, there were two main reasons for fans to look forward to the sequel. First, shooting has officially started, as director Todd Phillips announced on social media. Second, there is a first image of the film. It shows topless leading man Joaquin Phoenix being shaved by an unknown person. Based on the white coat of the person on the left, we can assume that this scene takes place in the infamous Arkham Asylum. As of yet, there is not much information regarding the plot, but we already know that the movie will be told in a musical style, and it is also certain that Harley Quinn will take on a major role in the sequel. This also fits the title Folie à Deux, which is named after a psychotic disorder in which delusions are transferred from one sick individual to an initially healthy person. Literally translated, Folie à Deux thus means madness shared by two. Since Harley Quinn, who will be played by Lady Gaga, was one of the psychiatrists in Arkham Asylum, according to the comics, it seems reasonable to assume that she is the one who gets affected by the Joker's mental illness. In addition to Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, Zazie Beetz returns, with Harry Potter actor Brendan Gleeson and Being John Malkovich actress Catherine Keener also making their debuts. The theatrical release of Joker: Folie à Deux has so far been scheduled for October 4th, 2024. It's a well-known fact that director Christopher Nolan is a gifted filmmaker who doesn't shy away from any challenge. In his new film Oppenheimer, which revolves around the invention of the atomic bomb in the course of the Second World War, a massive nuclear explosion cannot be missing. It would probably have been easiest to recreate the detonation via CGI, but Nolan resorted to mechanical means instead. Needless to say, a real atomic bomb was not detonated, but the so-called Trinity nuclear explosion, which was the first atomic bomb detonation ever, is said to have been recreated in a deceptively realistic way. The outcome is of course unknown, but it is likely to increase anticipation for the film even more. Additionally, there are a number of images released exclusively by Total Film. The images feature Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss, who is barely recognizable in appearance, Cillian Murphy as nuclear bomb inventor Robert J. Oppenheimer, along with behind-the-scenes shots of Nolan as well as two covers. The movie is also said to be the very first to be shot entirely in IMAX black and white, which is certainly consistent with the wartime and post-war atmosphere. The cast is also very impressive, with Downey Jr. and Murphy being joined by Florence Pugh, Gary Oldman, and Rami Malek in various roles. We are looking forward to the Nolan biopic about the father of the atomic bomb, which is scheduled for release on July 21st, 2023. When actor Jackie Chan took to the stage at the Red Sea Film Festival, few expected him to announce a sequel to an iconic movie series. Completely unexpectedly, Chan spoke of an upcoming Rush Hour 4 that was now officially in the works. That same evening, he said he had arranged a meeting with the director to reveal his plans. Brett Ratner has directed all 3 Rush Hour movies to date. The last installment came out 15 years ago, and Ratner's last time directing was in 2014 for Hercules. In 2017, when the director was also confronted with accusations of sexual harassment, Warner Bros. Ended all contracts with the 53-year-old and his company Rat Pack. Thus, the announcement of a sequel came as a great surprise, and an actual engagement of Ratner as a director is considered very unlikely. In terms of plot, the popular comedy movie series revolves around Inspector Lee, who is tasked by the Chinese consul to conduct investigations in Los Angeles under the supervision of local police officer James Carter. Later, the two become friends and solve various cases together. Due to its funny and distinctive style, the movie series is still very famous today, which is mainly due to the chemistry of the two main actors, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. A planned release date is not known yet, which is not really strange considering the very early stage of production. Stay tuned for further news. Alright, that's it for this week. We suggest you check out the latest Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer on our channel. In addition, we also got a new original episode on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, in which you can learn everything you need to know about the final Guardians movie. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.